Hi everyone, it's Jenny. Thanks for joining me today for another layout with the kit that I made for the Scrap Stash Kit Club. That can be found on Facebook or online, and basically they help you to make scrapbook kits from your own stash. So it's a great way to use up papers that you've just been hoarding for a while, and to be able to find some gems that you might have forgotten about. So here I am going through my papers and cutting elements out that I think that I might use, and so I'm just cutting the pieces from the cut apart sheet, and I think that I will forward that in a minute because you don't really need to see me doing all the fussy cutting. And there I am cutting the little elements, and there's all the bits that I fussy cut out and might use. Don't know what I will use, but I can't use them all, of course. Even though I love to have my layouts full to the brim of product, I can't use everything. So here I am trying to decide what I want to do, and I'm using that lovely mint green or turquoisey colour as my background. So I've cut the middle out so that I can use that for another layout, and I'm going to mat it on some white cardstock. So just trimming that down so I've got a little bit of that greeny blue showing underneath, and off I go. So just having a look at some of my product, seeing what I might like to use. I think I'm making a pile of things that I might use. Yep, to the left is who knows? To the left I think I'm not using that pile, and the pile in the middle I'm thinking that I might use some of those elements. Yep, so putting that stuff that I had to the left over to the right, and that's out of the way. So here I found some plastic acetate sheets or overlays from Glitz Design, and they had some gorgeous colours in there. One of the colours in the kit this month was to use a yellow, so I have adapted it and I'm using an orange colour. There's a girl in the photo who's got an orange on, so I wanted to bring some orange in rather than the bits of yellow. So just getting everything on the layout, fiddling around, seeing where I would like things, and using the little pile of things that I cut from my stash. That little yellow flourish was from a company in Australia called Flourish with a Bling, and it's a little like a puffy sort of feel to it, puffy sticker, and I won that in a competition that I was lucky enough to win, and I had heaps of different things like that. I don't normally use them, but thought this is a great time to use stuff that I wouldn't normally use, and to adapt it to my style. So I like the end result. I was happy with it. I might not use them on every single layout, but it was good for this layout. So here I am just deciding on the title. Now the title will look weird to you if you try to sound it out. Actually won't make any sense, but all the letters together mean Youth Alive Conference 2014. So it was a conference that my son and daughter went on with our church earlier this year, and it was for the, youth in Perth. So that's what that stands for. Took me a while to figure out what that was all over the kids' t-shirts, but that's what it is. Youth Alive Conference 2014. Okay, so that photo there is of the youth that headed down to Perth for that conference, and some of the leaders. My son's hiding in the photo. He doesn't ever want to be in the photo, and my daughter is to the back and to the right with dark hair, and I think she's got a white jumper on with a big smile. Okay, so fussing around, putting some yellow at the top there to bring in some colour. I tried to put that yellow piece to the left there underneath the photo mat, but it didn't look good. Didn't quite like it, so I'm quite happy with the way this part is set up. and I pretty much think that I'm ready to commit and start sticking, just having a fuss, having a fiddle and playing around, seeing if I'm really happy with that. So I've got a bit of sticky tape in my hand ready to go, so I must be ready to commit to something. Okay, I can see a gap where I want to start to fill, and I'm thinking that I'd like to put that tag. Doesn't quite work there yet, but I will get it to work after. Okay, so I stuck that down. I'm ready to commit. Happy with how this is looking, and I'm happy to start gluing it all together. So the gluing it all together is a funny process, because when I look back and have a look at the process, sometimes I don't stick it back together how I had it. I can't remember how I had it, but in the end it all works out. The first fussing and fiddling around is, basically just to get the elements to where I think they want to go, and then I can fuss towards the end. So you will notice in my videos I move things around a lot, hesitate a lot, see if I like it to the left, to the right, up, down, around. Maybe I won't, maybe I will. But like I said the other day, that's all a part of the process that I love, and just seeing what works and what doesn't. It's a great way to learn what works and what doesn't, because you can put it on and before you commit you can see, no, that doesn't work, and often you can figure out why, because there might be a big gap, or there might be two colours next to each other. So by visually seeing it, moving it around, you can have a good idea of what you actually like and what you don't like. So that's the main element there. I couldn't get the thing straight, so I've pulled in the trusty ruler, and I'm using that to help me find out where the edge of my paper was on this mat. I couldn't quite see the number, so the ruler is always handy. So just placing things back together the way I had it. Looking up the top, thinking something's missing up there, not quite sure what, so maybe I'll cut that piece of paper and stick that under there. Yep, I think I'll keep with that, but now something's missing over here, so it's time to have a little bit of a trim, little chop, and add little bits and pieces. So as you can see, I love to keep all the scraps and use them for little fillers and to add a little bit of colour here, there and everywhere. When I stuck the page together, I realised that I had scooted it over to the left a little bit, so there was a gap over to the right. So I just used that little bit of yellow paper and filled in the gap there. And there's that blue tag back again, the navy tag, and that's filled in the little gap that was missing there, and that little piece there, sliding that underneath so that it fills the little gap. I don't like to have everything even. I like to have things a little bit odd shaped, so if I look at it and can see that everything's even in a row, I don't really like it, so I just like to nudge things up a little bit or down a little bit, like that little square there that I was fiddling with. I prefer that to be down on the photo rather than on top of the photo mat. Once again, no rhyme or reason, just a personal preference. I think it helps the design element. If the look I'm going for is for it not to be perfect, I think it helps then for things not to be placed perfectly straight. Otherwise then it just looks like I've put things in the wrong spot. Whereas now it just looks like I have strategically put things in the wrong spot. In the right spot, I should say. So it's all just a matter of what you like and just committing to things. So fussing there with the squares, trying to get the little tag to go underneath the little yellow paper. Couldn't quite get my fingers in there. And now starting to embellish and find some other things from the sticker sheets. I'm keen to use some of the elements from the sticker sheets that I have, but some of them are just not quite working on this layout today. But I will find a spot for them in other layouts. So just where I'm putting the sticker there, I wanted to raise it a little bit higher. It looked too empty there once I had the title on. So I cut it in half and put half of the sticker at the top and put half of it under the bottom, just to carry that little bit of cream and the nice blue to both top and bottom of the page. So here I am with that little flourish, working out where that's going to go and committing to that. Can't pull that off now that it's stuck, and now I'm just looking at all the little gaps and filling them up. Moving the elements around the page. Do I like it there better? Do I like it up there? No. Still haven't committed to that title. Wasn't sure if I wanted the title. I looked in my stash to see if I had any other thickers, but I didn't have anything else that really suited. Wasn't sure if that really worked, but in the end I'm happy to use it, and it's okay. So just committing with those now. That title that looks like a word that makes no sense, but we know what it meant, and it's for my family, so they would read it and know straight away that that was their youth conference and that they had a ball. Grabbing all those little things again, fussing around a lot. And pulling in some flare now. And some buttons, trying to see where I can make them work. At this point in time, I have got no real cluster points. Well, I have got some, but I'm wanting to add some little bit of dimension to make them clear, but I'm not quite sure where I actually want to make them. So do I want to put some on that little yellow flourish, or do I want to put some at the top above the title? So at this stage it's fiddling around and seeing where I like it. So I quite like that button there on the flourish, but as you'll see I move it and don't stick with it there. Put that little love heart there, fill in that little gap underneath the flourish. Committing to that little Polaroid frame there. And in all of this, that little hashtag that's at the start of the title never actually got stuck down. So I'm actually sitting here looking at it on my layout, and it fell off. So all this time I realised it's actually just sitting there. Even when I show you the still shots at the end and the photos, it's actually not stuck down to the page. And there tends to be one element nearly every single time I do a layout that doesn't actually get stuck until it falls off and I notice it on the floor. So I have no idea why I do that, but obviously I'm just keen to do all the other elements and some little bits get forgotten. So just adding the little bits of flair, putting the little circle elements that I cut out before, sticking them on with them, and the little places. The little flare I put on with a little bit of foam tape. They were little foam squares that were quite thin, so it doesn't raise them up really high. It just gives a nice little bit of dimension. So here I am just pulling out my glossy accents and sticking that blue button there. And I think that I'm just about done, except I'm going to pull out these gorgeous big gems from Kaisercraft. They are years old. You can't buy them anymore. I don't even know where I got them. I think I got them in a really old pack one time, so I found them in the cupboard and use them when I can, because they are just gorgeous. And there's not often that you can use some bright orange gemstones, so they worked out good. So here I am laying down my Indian ink, putting my finishing black spots on, and it's finished. So you'll see a couple of stills, or one still, and that's it. So thank you for stopping by, thank you for your support, and hope you're enjoying my videos, and I'll hope to see you the next time. Thank you, bye.